Rise up, falcons. 60 seconds. That is all this takes. 60 seconds of saying 12 things to yourself before the day starts, before the phone, before the noise, before anything outside you has had a single moment to decide how you feel. 60 seconds that most people never take. Not because they are lazy, because nobody told them it mattered. Nobody told them that the words you say to yourself in the first minute of the morning are more powerful than anything a coach, a podcast, or a motivational video will ever say to you. Because they come from you. They are said in your voice, to your mind, before any defense is up. Think about what happens when you wake up without those 60 seconds. The phone goes on, the news comes in, someone else's problem lands in your lap before you have had a single thought of your own, and your mind, which is softest and most open in those first moments, absorbs all of it. The anxiety, the comparison, the low-grade noise of a world that never stops demanding things from you. That is what gets loaded into the day before you have had a chance to load anything of your own. Now think about the opposite. 60 seconds where you speak to yourself first, where you say 12 specific things, not wishes, not prayers, declarations, direct, bold statements of who you are choosing to be today, said in your voice, heard by your mind, before any of the noise has had a chance to get there first. That is what rewires a mind, not one dramatic moment of change. The daily, consistent practice of saying the right things to yourself before the world says something different, word by word, morning by morning, 60 seconds at a time, 12 words, 60 seconds, one morning, and then every morning after that. This is how the mind gets rewired, not by what happens to you, by what you tell yourself before it does. If you're ready to take 60 seconds every morning and make it the most powerful 60 seconds of your day, comment below, I declare my day. Number 1. I am unstoppable. Not a wish, a declaration, made before the world gets a chance to test you. Say this one first, before anything else. Not because today is going to be easy, because it is not. Today is going to have friction. Something will not go the way you planned. Someone will not respond the way you hoped. A task will take longer than you thought. A problem you did not expect will appear before lunch. None of that is a prediction of doom. That is just what days contain. The question is never whether the difficulty is coming. The question is who you are when it arrives. The person who says I am unstoppable in the morning is not pretending the difficulties do not exist. They are deciding in advance that the difficulties do not get the final word, that no single obstacle, setback, or frustrating moment today is the reason to stop, that the thing they are building will still be built, that they will still be standing at the end of this day. Not because the day was easy, because they decided before it started that stopping was not an available option. Most people wait until they feel unstoppable before they act like it, but the feeling does not come before the action. It comes after you have moved through enough resistance that your own behavior proves the point. The unstoppable feeling is the result of unstoppable action. So, you say the declaration first. You act from it, and the feeling arrives as the evidence builds. Say it this morning. I am unstoppable, not quietly, with conviction, not as a hope, as a fact you have already decided. Then go into the day and behave like someone for whom this is simply true. When the first difficult thing arrives, return to the declaration. It was made before the difficulty arrived. It still stands. Nothing that happens today changes a decision that was made before today began. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Read that again. What stands in the way becomes the way. The obstacle is not in front of the path. The obstacle is the path. The person who is unstoppable does not see difficulties as interruptions. They see them as the next step, the next section of the journey, the next thing that was always going to be part of getting where they are going. You made the decision this morning. Nothing today changes it. The obstacles will come and they will become the way. That is what unstoppable looks like from inside the day. Not a perfect smooth road. A person who keeps walking whatever the road looks like. Keep walking today. You decided this morning. That decision stands all day. One practical thing about this declaration. When the first difficult moment arrives today, and it will arrive, do not evaluate whether to continue. You already evaluated that this morning, and the answer was yes. The decision is already made. The difficult moment is not asking you to reconsider, it is asking you to continue. And the answer to that question was given in the morning before the difficult moment had a chance to make its case. If you are declaring this morning that nothing today will stop you from moving forward, comment below, I am unstoppable. Number 2, I conquer every fear, every excuse, every version of yourself that wanted to stay small. The opponent you face every morning is not outside you. It is the voice that says, maybe not today. The voice that says you are not ready yet. The voice that finds a new reason to wait every single time you get close to doing the thing that matters. It knows you. It has been listening to you your whole life. It knows exactly which fear works on you, exactly which doubt to plant at exactly the wrong moment. It is the most specifically calibrated opponent you will ever face, because it was built entirely from your own history. And here is the thing about that opponent. It is loudest when the stakes are highest. When you are about to do something that genuinely matters, when you are about to take the step that would actually change something, that is when the voice gets most creative with its arguments. It will dress fear as wisdom. It will dress avoidance as patience. It will make staying exactly where you are sound like the most responsible choice available. I conquer means you have heard all of that, and you are acting anyway. Not because the fear disappeared, because you made a decision that is bigger than the fear. The conqueror does not wait for the opponent to stop talking. The conqueror acts while the opponent is still mid-sentence. That is what conquering looks like in real life. Not the absence of doubt, the movement despite it. Every fear you face today and move through anyway makes tomorrow's fear slightly smaller. Every excuse you see clearly and refuse to accept today makes next time easier to refuse. Every version of yourself that wanted to stay small and did not get to win today builds the version that is larger. Conquering is not a single event, it is a daily practice. It is what you do this morning before the opponent has finished building today's case. Epictetus wrote, "No man is free who is not master of himself. Master of himself, not master of the weather or the traffic or what other people decide to do. Master of himself, of the voice inside, of the fear and the doubt and the comfortable argument for standing still. That mastery is what I conquer means. You are in charge today, not the opponent. You decide, not the fear. The actions that follow from your decisions are your actions, and your decisions are made before the opponent has had a chance to fully state its case. Say it, mean it. Then go conquer the first thing that tries to stop you. That is the only proof that matters. The conquering starts small and builds. You do not begin by conquering the biggest fear. You begin by conquering the smallest excuse. The one that says not now, later. The one that says maybe tomorrow. Conquer that one this morning. Just that one. That small conquest opens the door for the next one, and the next, until by the end of the day you have conquered more than you thought you were capable of when you woke up. That is how it builds. Small conquests daily, large ones eventually. If you are conquering every fear and every excuse that tries to keep you small today, comment below, I conquer. Number 3. I am valuable. Your time, your mind, your presence are not cheap. Stop treating them like they are. Look at where your time went yesterday, not where you intended it to go, where it actually went, the meeting that ran too long, the conversation that drained you and gave nothing back, the scroll that started as 5 minutes and became 45, the request you said yes to because saying no felt uncomfortable even though the yes cost you something real. Where did the hours go? And when you look at where they went, do they reflect what you believe your time is worth? Most people say they value their time, but they give it away like it is free. Not because they are weak, because they were never taught to treat their own resources as scarce. They were taught to be helpful and available and not to make things difficult. And there is nothing wrong with those things in the right context. But when they become the default setting regardless of context, they produce a life where everything and everyone receives your time except the things that actually matter to you. I am valuable means the accounting changes today. It means before you give your time to something, you ask whether that something deserves it. Before you give your attention to someone, you ask whether they have shown they value it. Before you give your energy to a situation, you ask whether it is building something or just consuming something. These are not selfish questions. They are the questions a person who knows their own worth asks before they spend their most irreplaceable resource. Your time is the form your value takes in the world. It is finite. It is moving in one direction only, and it does not slow down for you. Every hour spent on the wrong thing is an hour the right thing did not receive. That is not a dramatic statement, it is arithmetic. And the person who understands the arithmetic starts making different decisions, not harder decisions, clearer ones. Seneca wrote, "Everything is foreign to us. Only time is truly ours. Only time is truly ours. Everything else can be taken, replaced, rebuilt. Time cannot. The hour that passed while you were giving yourself away to something that did not deserve you is gone permanently. There is no account where those hours accumulate and wait for when you are ready to use them well. They just pass, and they pass at the same rate whether you are spending them on the things that matter or the things that merely ask. You are valuable. Treat yourself accordingly. Starting with the very next decision about where your time goes today. The clearest signal that someone knows they are valuable is what they say no to, not what they say yes to. The yes is easy, the no is where the value is measured. Every no said from a clear sense of your own worth is a vote for the life that reflects it. Start casting those votes today, not dramatically, quietly. In the small daily moments where you get to choose between giving your best resources to something that deserves them and giving them to something that merely asks. If you are committing today to treating your time, mind and presence as the valuable things they actually are, comment below, I am valuable. Number 4, I dominate, not other people. Your own laziness, your own doubt, your own weakness. This one is not about anyone else. The person who tries to dominate other people is working on the wrong problem. Other people are not the obstacle between you and the life you are building. You are. The version of you that hits the snooze button when the work needs to start. The version that says, I will do it tomorrow when it could be done today. The version that chooses the comfortable option every time a difficult one is also available. That version is the opponent, and that opponent needs to be dominated every single morning before it gets comfortable running the day. Laziness does not announce itself as laziness. It announces itself as tiredness, as needing more information before you can start, as waiting for the right moment, as deserving the rest first. It is always dressed as something reasonable, and the reasonable-sounding argument is exactly why it wins so often. You are not being lazy. You are being sensible. You do not have enough energy right now. The timing is not right. These arguments are convincing because they contain just enough truth to feel valid. I dominate means you see through the costume. You recognize the laziness even when it is dressed as wisdom. You recognize the doubt even when it is speaking in a calm and reasonable voice. You recognize the weakness even when it is making a very good case for itself. And then you act from your decision rather than from its argument. Not because the argument was wrong necessarily, because your decision outranks it. Dominate the first hard thing today before the day has had a chance to make the easy thing feel necessary. Do the work before the argument against doing it has fully formed. Move before the comfortable option has established itself as normal. That is what I dominate means in the first hour of a morning. Not aggression. Clarity about who is making the decisions. Epictetus wrote, "Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens." What is in your power is the choice, your response, your decision about whether the laziness or the doubt or the weakness gets to run this hour or whether you do. Dominate that choice every hour, starting with the first one. The person who dominates themselves in the morning is a different person by the evening, not because their circumstances changed, because their choices did. And choices accumulate into character. Dominate yours today. You are in charge today, not the lazy version, not the doubtful version. You, the one who decided this morning, the one who dominates. If you are dominating your own laziness, doubt and weakness today instead of letting them run the show, comment below, I dominate. Number 5. I am sharp. Your mind is a weapon. Every morning you either sharpen it or let it rust. Your mind is either working for you or against you. There is no middle ground. A sharp mind knows what it is doing and why it is doing it. It does not get pulled off course by every notification that arrives. It does not spiral into anxiety about things that have not happened yet. It does not spend hours on low-value tasks because they feel productive, while the high-value work sits untouched because it requires real effort. The sharp mind has a direction, and it applies that direction to whatever the day brings, rather than being shaped by whatever the day throws at it. Sharpness is built in the morning, before the day has established its appetite for easy, before the algorithm has started deciding what you think about, before the reactive mode has kicked in and the rest of the day becomes a series of responses to other people's priorities. In the morning, there is a window, a small, quiet window where the mind is most open. What you put into that window matters more than what you put into any other part of the day. Put something that requires genuine thought. Read one page of something that makes you think differently rather than just know more. Write 3 sentences about where today needs to go and why. Spend 5 minutes on the hardest problem instead of the easiest one. Any of these things done in the morning window sharpens the instrument that will carry you through everything else the day contains. A dull mind moves through the day reactively. It responds to whatever is loudest. It gets to the evening having processed a lot and built very little. A sharp mind moves through the day with direction. It filters, it prioritizes. It does the things that matter before the things that are merely urgent. It gets to the evening having not only processed but constructed something. The difference between those two people is not intelligence, it is the morning. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. The power over the mind is exercised before the outside events arrive, before the day has made its case for where your attention should go. In the morning, in the quiet before the noise. That is where the sharpening happens. That is where you get to decide what kind of instrument you are going to carry into the day, sharp or dull, directed or reactive, yours or theirs. Sharpen it this morning, before anything else gets to decide what condition it is in. If you are committing to sharpening your mind this morning before anything dulls it, comment below. I am sharp. Number 6. I reclaim. Your power, your confidence. Everything life, people and pain tried to take from you. At some point something was taken from you. Maybe you know exactly what it was and when it happened. A loss that changed everything. A relationship that broke you a little before it ended. A failure that became the story you told yourself about what you were capable of. A person who spent years making you feel smaller than you are until smaller started feeling normal. Maybe it happened so gradually you did not notice until one day you looked in the mirror and wondered where the version of yourself went that used to take up more space. Whatever was taken, and something was taken from everyone, the effect is the same. You are operating below your actual level, not because you lack the capability, because the capability is sitting behind a door that the old damage keeps locked. And every time you approach the door, something in you remembers what happened last time you tried to open it and decides that staying on this side of it is safer. I reclaim is the key, not a magic word, a decision. The decision that what was taken does not get to live in the present any longer, that the wound can exist without governing, that the past can inform without controlling, that the smaller version of yourself that formed in response to what happened is not the final version. It is the version that was shaped by damage, and the version being built now is shaped by the decision to take back what belongs to you, your confidence, your power, your right to take up the space you were meant to occupy, your right to try things without the constant shadow of what happened last time, your right to be fully present in your own life rather than operating with one eye always on the old wound. These things belong to you. They were never permanently surrendered. They were just covered over. Start uncovering them today, one morning at a time. Seneca wrote, "Begin at once to live and count each separate day as a separate life, each separate day as a separate life. The damage belongs to yesterday's life. Today's life opens clean, not without memory of what happened, but with the genuine freedom to make different choices than the ones the damage suggested. The reclaiming is those different choices, made today and tomorrow, and the day after that, until the covered version of yourself is not covered anymore, until the power and the confidence and the full presence are not things you are reclaiming, they are just things you are. Start reclaiming today, one choice at a time, one morning at a time. What was taken can be taken back. If you are reclaiming your power, your confidence, and everything that was taken from you today, comment below. I reclaim. Number 7. I am intentional. Nothing about your day is accidental. You move with purpose or you do not move at all. Here is what an unintentional day looks like. You wake up and the phone goes on immediately. You check what happened while you slept. You respond to the first thing that asks for a response. You move to the next thing that asks. You look up 2 hours later and the morning is gone and you have not done a single thing that was actually yours. The whole morning belonged to everyone else's agenda, their messages, their requests, their version of what was urgent. And your agenda, the things you actually wanted to build, sits untouched, because by the time you get to it, the day has already taken most of your best energy. That is not a productivity problem, it is an intention problem. The unintentional person does not lack motivation or capability. They lack the morning declaration that would have told their mind what this day is actually for before everyone else told it something different. I am intentional means I entered this day with a direction I chose, before the first notification arrived, before the first request came in, before the urgent things started making their case against the important things. My direction was set first, and everything that arrives today gets filtered through that direction rather than replacing it. The urgent things will still get handled, but the important thing gets done first because it was named first. Intentional does not mean rigid. The person who is intentional is not thrown when the day goes differently than planned. They are actually better equipped for the unexpected because they have a clear enough sense of what they are building that they can adapt to the surprise without losing the direction. The unintentional person has no direction to return to when something unexpected arrives. They just go wherever the surprise takes them. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good person should be. Be one today." With the specific choices available in the specific ordinary moments this day contains. That is what intentional looks like, not a grand strategy. The small, consistent choice to move from your own direction rather than from whatever direction the day tries to assign. Every hour, every decision, every moment where you get to choose whether you are running your day or your day is running you. Run your day today, you declared this morning. Now, execute the declaration. If you are moving through today with full intention and clear purpose rather than on autopilot, comment below, "I am intentional." Number 8. I transform. Pain becomes fuel, failure becomes wisdom, pressure becomes the force that builds diamonds. Nothing that has happened to you has to stay the way it looks right now. The failure that felt like a verdict, the painful season that cost you something real, the relationship that broke, the plan that fell apart, the version of yourself that got knocked down harder than you expected and took longer to get back up than you thought it would. All of it, every bit of it, is raw material, not garbage. Material. And what gets built from material depends entirely on who is working with it. Two people can go through identical experiences and arrive in completely different places 5 years later, not because one was stronger or more gifted, because one decided what the experience meant and the other let the experience decide for them. The first person said this happened, and here is what I am going to build from it. The second person said this happened, and it means something permanent about what I am capable of. Same experience. Completely different transformation. You are the one who decides what your experiences mean, not the experiences themselves. They do not come with meaning attached. They come raw. You attach the meaning, and the meaning you attach determines what gets built from them. Pain can mean I was damaged and will always carry this damage. Or pain can mean I now understand something about suffering that only people who have been through it can understand. And that understanding makes me capable of something I was not capable of before. I transform means I have stopped letting the difficult things define me and started letting them develop me. It means the failure became information. The pain became fuel. The difficult season became the building ground for a version of myself that the comfortable seasons never could have produced. Say it this morning and mean it as a decision about what everything that has happened to you is going to become in your hands. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Everything that stood in your way became the way. Everything you went through built something, not because suffering is good, because you decided to make something from it rather than just carry it. That decision is made fresh every morning. I transform is the morning renewal of that decision. Yesterday's material gets transformed today. Today's material gets transformed tomorrow. The transformer is always working, always building from whatever arrives. What are you transforming today? Name it, then get to work on it. If you are transforming everything that tried to break you into the fuel for what you are building, comment below, I transform. Number 9. I am sovereign. No one owns your mind, your time, or your direction. You are the authority in your own life. At some point you gave someone else the keys to your life. Not in one dramatic handover. Slowly, over years. A little bit of authority went to the person whose approval you needed. A little bit went to the fear of what people would say. A little bit went to the expectations of the family, or the culture, or the social circle you were born into. A little bit went to the habit of deferring to whoever seemed most confident or most demanding or most present. And one day you looked around and realized that the decisions you were making were not entirely yours. They were shaped by a dozen different voices that had been given more influence than they ever earned. I am sovereign means you are taking the keys back. Today. Not dramatically. Through the daily practice of making your own decisions from your own values, through noticing when the voice giving you direction is one you actually chose to listen to, rather than one that simply accumulated influence through proximity or persistence, through asking whose agenda this serves before you commit your time to it, through living in a way that reflects what you actually care about, rather than what you have been convinced you should care about. Sovereignty is not arrogance. The sovereign person listens. They take in feedback. They consider the input of people they respect. And then they decide, from their own center, not from the fear of what happens if they decide differently from what is expected, not from the need for approval to confirm that the decision was the right one. From their own clear sense of what they are building and who they are building it as. You do not need permission to live the life you are here to live. You do not need a consensus to move in the direction that is genuinely yours. You do not need anyone else's validation to confirm that what you are doing is worth doing. The authority is yours. It was always yours. Reclaim it today and exercise it in every decision that the day puts in front of you. Epictetus wrote, "No man is free who is not master of himself. Free, not comfortable, not approved of, not popular, free." The person who is master of themselves is free in the way that actually matters. They are not at the mercy of what other people think, not dependent on external circumstances to tell them who they are, not waiting for permission that was always theirs to give themselves. That is the freedom that sovereignty produces. And it starts in the morning when you say, "I am sovereign," and mean it as a statement of how today is going to be run. Your life, your keys, your direction. Nobody else drives today. If you are declaring yourself the full authority over your own mind, time and direction today, comment below, "I am sovereign." Number 10. I hunger. The day you become comfortable is the day you begin to shrink. Stay hungry. Always. Comfort feels like a rival. It is actually the beginning of the decline. There is a specific feeling that comes when you have worked hard enough for long enough that things have become easier, when the effort that used to leave you exhausted has become routine, when the level you have reached is finally stable and the struggle that got you here is in the past. That feeling is real and it is earned, and for a short time it is exactly what it appears to be. Rest that was deserved. But held too long, it becomes something else. It becomes the belief that you have arrived, that the growing is complete, that the distance between who you are now and who you could still become is no longer relevant, because where you are is enough, and the moment that belief sets in, the gap stops closing, not because it became impossible to close, because you stopped being hungry enough to close it. The hunger this word is talking about is not desperation. It is not the frantic scrambling of someone who is never satisfied with anything. It is the specific alert aliveness of someone who knows there is still ground between who they are and who they could be, who can feel that ground, who is pulled by it, who chooses every morning to close it a little rather than settle into the comfortable plateau where the closing stopped. Stay hungry for the version of yourself still possible, for the skill not yet fully developed, for the understanding still being built, for the contribution not yet made, for the problem you were built to solve that you have not yet fully solved. That hunger is not a dissatisfaction with what you have built. It is a loyalty to what you are still capable of building. Keep it alive, every single morning, before comfort convinces you the building is done. Seneca wrote, "It is not the man who has too little that is poor, but the man who hankers after more." Hunger for capability, for growth, for the person still possible if you refuse to declare the work complete before it actually is. That hunger is not poverty. It is the richest possible relationship with a life that is still being built. The person who is hungry in the right direction, toward growth and contribution and the full expression of what they are capable of, is not lacking anything. They are fully alive to everything still available. Stay that person. Every morning. Before comfort makes the case that staying still is the same as having arrived. You have not arrived yet. Stay hungry. The best version of this is still ahead of you. Name the gap this morning, not to punish yourself for not having closed it yet, to make it real. The gap between who you are today and who you are capable of becoming is not an accusation. It is a direction. It is the thing that gives the hunger somewhere to go. Name it. Feel the pull of it. Then spend today moving toward it. Even slightly, even one small step. The gap closes one step at a time, and today has steps available. If you are staying hungry today for growth, for capability, and for the version of yourself still possible, comment below, I hunger. Number 11. I am light, not soft, illuminating. Wherever you walk, darkness loses ground. You affect every room you walk into. The question is how. Some people walk into a room and the energy drops, not because they intend it to, because they are carrying something heavy and unprocessed, and it leaks. The unresolved anxiety, the unexamined wound, the old bitterness dressed as realism, the exhaustion of someone who has not dealt with their own internal weather, and so it spills into every space they occupy. They do not know they are doing it, but everyone in the room feels it. And some people walk into a room and something shifts. Not because they are performing positivity or working hard to be liked, because they are genuinely present, because they have done enough of their own work that what they carry into the space is clarity rather than confusion, steadiness rather than anxiety, warmth rather than the cold weight of unprocessed difficulty. These people are not softer, they are clearer. And clarity is a form of light. It makes the space around it more visible. I am light does not mean I am always happy. It does not mean I pretend the hard things are not hard. It means I have processed enough of my own material that I am not dumping it on the people around me. It means I am genuinely present in the conversations I enter, rather than half there and half somewhere inside the noise in my own head. It means the people who spend time with me leave the interaction feeling slightly more capable, slightly more clear, slightly more like themselves than they did before. That is a kind of power that does not require any announcement. You do not tell people you are light. You just are it. And they feel it. Every room, every conversation, every moment where your presence either adds something or takes something. Being light means you add, every time. Not because you are performing anything, because you did your own work, and now your presence is genuinely what it appears to be. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The first rule is to keep an untroubled spirit. The second is to look things in the face and know them for what they are, an untroubled spirit. Not a spirit that has never been troubled, a spirit that has met trouble and processed it and is not currently drowning in it. That is the light. The person who has looked their difficulties in the face and knows them for what they are, rather than what the fear says they are. That clarity, that honest, untroubled meeting of reality, is what makes the light real rather than performed. Walk into every room today as that, not soft, not performing, real, clear, present, light. If you are committed to being a clarifying and illuminating presence everywhere you go today, comment below, I am light. Number 12. I begin. The most powerful word of all. Not tomorrow, not when you are ready, right now. This is the only word that makes the other 11 real. You can say, I am unstoppable every morning for a year. If you never begin, the word is just air. You can say, I conquer, and I am sovereign, and I transform, and every declaration in this video. If you never begin, they are intentions sitting in a space where actions should be. The beginning is not one of 12 equal declarations. It is the declaration that activates all the others. It is the threshold. Everything is possible on one side of it. Everything is actual on the other. The beginning does not require conditions to be perfect. It never will be. The beginning does not require the fear to be gone. The fear does not go before you begin. It goes after. The beginning does not require certainty about how the thing ends. Nobody who ever built anything worth building had that certainty at the start. The beginning only requires one thing: the decision to take one real step in the real world today in the direction of the person you declared yourself to be this morning. One step. Not the whole journey. One email sent. One page written. One conversation had that you have been putting off. One commitment made out loud instead of only in your head. One thing done today that moves the life you are building from the version that only exists in your intentions into the version that exists in the actual world. That is the beginning. And the beginning is enough. Everything else grows from the beginning. The hardest part is always the beginning. Not because the beginning is the most difficult work, because it is the place where the distance between intention and action is most visible. At the beginning, you can still see exactly how far the doing is from the planning. After you begin, that distance starts closing, and you stop being able to see it because you are in the middle of it. The beginning is the moment you choose to stop seeing the gap and start crossing it. Seneca wrote, "Begin. To begin is half the work. Let half still remain. Again, begin this, and thou wilt have finished." To begin is half the work, not a small fraction, half. The beginning is that significant. The person who begins today is already halfway to wherever they are going. And the person who does not begin is not at zero, they are going backwards, because the day passes regardless. The only question is whether it passed with the beginning in it or without it. 12 words were spoken this morning. 60 seconds. Everything was declared. The unstoppable person, the conqueror, the one who is valuable and dominant and sharp and reclaiming and intentional and transforming and sovereign and hungry and light. All of it declared. All of it waiting on this one word to make it real. Begin. Right now. Not after the video ends. Now. The declaration was made. The beginning is all that remains. If you are beginning right now, today, with what you have and from where you are, comment below, "I begin." 12 words, 60 seconds, every morning. I am unstoppable. I conquer. I am valuable. I dominate. I am sharp. I reclaim. I am intentional. I transform. I am sovereign. I hunger. I am light. I begin. Say them tomorrow before anything else, before the phone, before the news, before the world has had even 1 second to decide how your day feels. 60 seconds, your voice, your mind, your direction, set before anything outside you has a chance to set it for you. Here is the truth about how this works. The first morning you say these words, they are just words. By the 10th morning, they start to feel familiar. By the 30th morning, something shifts. Your mind starts moving into the day differently, not because your circumstances changed, because the instruction changed. The first thing your mind receives every morning changed, and the mind that receives powerful instructions every morning for 30 days is a different instrument than the mind that received noise for 30 days. That is the rewiring, not dramatic, not instant, but real and completely available to you, starting with the next 60 seconds you choose to give it. The Stoics understood this. Marcus Aurelius wrote to himself every single morning, not to the public, to himself, before the day started making its demands, before the empire brought its problems to his door. He set his own mind first, because he knew that the quality of the mind meeting the day determines the quality of everything the day produces. He did it every morning, for years. and the mind he built through that daily practice is the one that governed an empire through plague and war and betrayal, and still produced some of the wisest writing in human history. You do not need to govern an empire. You need to govern yourself. 60 seconds every morning is how you start. If these 12 words change the way you are starting tomorrow, share this with someone who needs to hear them today. 60 seconds every morning. Before anything else, that is the whole practice. And it starts right now.